So welcome back everyone. So here we are in programming in Python module 1. This is our last video of Python programming module 1. This is about a revision of what we have learned in the previous 8 videos. Okay, we know that Python is a high level general purpose programming language and it is used for solving problems on modern computers. So it is free and it has few syntactical constructions and it is an interpreted language. Then we have features like easy to learn, easy to read, easy to maintain, portable databases, extendable, scalable. It supports functional and structured programming. Then have automatic garbage collection and easily integrated with other programming languages. Then we have looked about downloading and installing Python on www.python.org, and then how to run the code in an interactive shell. We have also looked at in the previous video of the first video. Then we also told about what IDLE is. IDLE is integrated development and learning environment. Then we call a shell window with the three greater than signs, which we call as a shell prompt. Then we learned about input processing and output, that is the input will be given through the keyboard, it will be processed, and the output destination will be displayed in the terminal. Then we have the print function, the first function that we have studied. The print function syntax goes like print. Inside the parentheses we have the expression. So this is used to print simple things. Now whenever we print it, if we want to display it as a string, then we use a double quotation mark or single quotation mark. But when the output is returned, it is displayed without the quotation marks. Now we can also write multiple expressions within the print statement, like this is 2 plus 2. So here 2 plus 2 is evaluated and the string is also given. Now we can, whenever we use a print function, the next line, the output will be given in the next line. So if we wanted to continue in the same line, we are using end. So with comma end equal to an empty string. So suppose an empty string. Now in Python, like any other programming language, we do have to get the input from the user, and that is why we use the input function. So the input function is used to get the input from the user. So we use the input function, and this function will cause the program to stop and wait for the user to enter a value from the keyboard. So when the user presses the return or enter key, the function accepts the input value and makes it available to the program. Then how do we use syntax of input? So we have a variable identifier or simply a variable for short, like x is equal to input. Input a string prompt, and then we enter a string prompt. Then we have type conversion. So whenever we use input, by default it comes in string format. So if we want to get the input of an integer, then we can't take it as a string. So we have to convert the string into an integer or a floating point. For that we use a type conversion. So int for integers and float for floating point. So we write like this: first equal to int, input, enter the first number. So the string will be converted into the integer format. So these are the basic functions that we have studied so far about float, int. So these functions are the type conversion things. Converts string of digits to a floating point, converts string of digits to an integer value. Then the input is used to display the string prompt and waits for keyboard input. The print expression, so it has multiple expressions, evaluates and displays them separated by one space in the console window. Then we have two strings, string 1 plus string 2. So these two strings glues together. This is used for concatenation. Then about editing, saving and running a script. Then how Python works. We have learned on how Python works, how the interpreter works. This can be broken into a series of steps. So Python code or source code is given to, and the syntax checker, it goes through the syntax checker and translator. If there is any syntax error, a syntax error message is displayed, followed by if there is no error, it will be in the form of bytecode and gets into the Python virtual machine. Here the user input. Now if there is any error in the user input, other messages, error messages will be displayed, and finally if there are no other messages, errors there, the program output will be displayed. Now detecting and correcting syntax error, we might have syntax error, so we have to find. So in this case, length equal to is, I have input a length variable, but then when I asked for length, it is showing it is a name error because length is not defined. So the user might have accidentally missed out the G over here. So that is length is not defined, it's a name error. Then we have to check the syntax. So whenever we use input, by default it comes in string format. So we have to convert the string into an integer. So that is length is not defined, it's a name error. Then we have the software development process. Over here we are discussing about the waterfall model, which is a software development process. Here customer request, analysis, design, implementation, integration and maintenance are the 6 phases of the waterfall model. Here customer request, based on what the customer requests, the programmer have to analyze the program and then design it. Later the code will be implemented and different parts, for bigger projects different parts will be integrated, it will be brought together and finally maintenance. So these are all interconnected and it goes as a flow. So if there is a mistake in analysis phase, they have to check the customer request. So they all are interconnected and maintenance is connected to all the phases. So the modern software development is usually incremental and iterative. Then we have the strings, assignments and comments. So we know about data types. So we have integer, real numbers, character strings. So these are all data types and the literal is an example. So in integer, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, they are literals. In real numbers, minus 0.55, minus any negative values with decimal point or 3.14. Or simply integer with 0.0 is also a literal in float. That is a real number. And in character string, anything that comes under single quotation or a double quotation mark is a literal for the character string. Now this is an empty string, as I have told you before. Now if we want to extend it to the next paragraph, we can use the 3 pairs of double quotation mark. Then we have the escape sequence. We have /b for backspace, /n for new line, /t for horizontal tab, // character, single quotation mark, and /double quotation to double quotation. Then string concatenation, as I have told you before. So here are 3 strings and I have used the plus symbol to concatenate it. So I have got this as a single string. Now the asterisk sign operator allows you to repeat it. So if I want 10 spaces before the word Python, I have in the double quotation mark I have given a space and into 10 I have given plus the word Python. So I will have 10 spaces before the word Python. Now variables and assignment statements are there. A variable have certain rules on how it should be. So it should begin with either a letter or an underscore, and it can contain any number of letters, digits or underscore, but it should not start with a digit. Now Python variable names are very case sensitive. Then if we use all capital numbers, then it is a symbolic constant. Then we have the assignment statement. So assignment statement, a variable name equal to expression, that is a syntax for assignment statement. Whatever expression is over here, that will be stored in the variable name, that is called defining or initializing if we do it for the first time. Then we have the program comments and the doc string. For doc string, as I told you before, we use 3 pairs of double quotation mark, and for end of line comment we use a hash symbol. The numeric data types and characteristics. We have integers and floating point. In character sets we have ASCII characters, that is character. So here leftmost digit is used for the left side of ASCII key and the topmost digit is used the right side of the ASCII key. Now in order to get ORD and character, if we want to get the character's order, so RDA, in which order the letter small letter A is, so that is 97. Similarly opposite, if characters I need to get the character of the order 65, that is A. So like that we can get. Now the expression. So expression provide an easy way to perform operations on data values to produce other data values. So I have arithmetic operations, expression that consists of operands and operators. These are the different operators. The negation, exponentiation, multiplication, division, quotient, remainder, or modulus, addition, subtraction. Then we have the precedence rules. Precedence rules, exponentiation is having the highest precedence and it is evaluated first. Then we have unary negation, after which we have multiplication and both types of division and remainders are evaluated. Then after that addition and subtraction. Then with 2 exceptions. If operation of 2 equal precedence is coming, then left associated, the char left associative, then we will check from left to right. If exponentiation and assignment operations are coming, then it is the right associative, so we will check from, we evaluate from right to left. Then we can use parentheses to change the order of the evaluation. Then we have mixed mode arithmetic and type conversion, where different types of floating point and it has both integer and floating point number is used in this type of calculation. So we must use a type conversion over here. Then we have strongly typed so we know Python is a strongly typed programming language, and also we have different using functions and modules. We can also use functions and modules Now what is a function? Function is a chunk of code. So we have different functions to make it more smaller and simpler to use. That is why we are using function. So names that refer to arguments are also known as parameters. Next we have the math module. So we can import different modules like math module, etc. for easy doing of the program. So we can import, this is the syntax, import math.py, so then we get math, the pi's value, or we can also use math.square root of 2. We can import specific functions, and also we can import it as a whole. And then we have the program format and structure. We have certain structure that we should follow. Then we have control statement. We have selection structure and iteration structure. Iteration structure means they are loops. We have for loop and while loop in iteration structure. This is the syntax for for loop. We have for a variable in range and integer expression, and a colon with a number of statements. So the first line of code in a loop is sometimes called the loop header, and then we have the loop body. So this is an example of loop, for loop. We have multiple examples. Now the loops that count through a range of numbers, we call that as count controlled loop. And then later we also have a range of functions. So we can put the range like 2, 11, 2. So here 2 will be skipped. 2 times it will be skipped, and this is the lower bound and this is the upper bound in this case. Then we have loop errors of by 1 error. So the loop will fail to perform the expected number of iterations. So in case if there is any error which have occurred, so here 1 to 4, actually the programmer wants to print from 1 to 4, but the upper bound minus 1 will only be printed. So 1, 2, 3 will only be printed. Now if it is just 4, so by default we'll start from 0. Now loops that count down, if we want to go reverse, then we can skip, do here minus 1, so it goes down. Now conditional iteration, then we have the while loop. Here we give a condition, so while a condition, and if the condition is true, it will go through the sequence of statement. We have a colon over here. Then this is the flow chart of the while loop. If the condition is true, then the statement is executed, and if it's true again, it goes on like that. If it is false, it comes out of the loop. This is the while true loop and the break statement. Break statement, we can break from the loop. Now selection structure, we have if and if else statement. Again here a condition is given, it can so it is comparison is based on the boolean value, either true or false. So if a statement is done, and this is a so we have if a condition, and then it goes through a sequence of statement, else it goes through another sequence of statements. Then we can also use if else if ladder. So instead of else if, like say we are using elif statement, so elif, so that is called multi-way if statement. Elif, it depends on the number you want. If condition 1, we have a sequence of statements, then elif condition n sequence of statement, and else will go default sequence of statement. So this is another example. Then we have the switch statement. A switch statement is very useful and powerful programming. This is to end to alternate if else if ladder statement and provide better performance and more manageable code than if else if statement. So this is the flow chart for if else statement with the syntax. Now this is the syntax of the switch statement. We use a switcher is equal to key1. Now we are having switcher equal to, and inside the curly braces we are giving key1 colon the value, and we are giving comma, and we separate it by comma and we give it. So this is the implementation of the switch statement in Python. So we get definition. So switcher is equal to the, we are giving the parenthesis, and 0 is our first case. So 0 colon Sunday. So if the user entered 0, then I want to print Sunday. If it is 1, Monday. So like that, different cases I am giving, separating it with commas, and finally I am asking it to return them. That is how it works. Then we have the augmented assignment. So augmented assignment means we have equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to, into equal to. So these are assignment operator. So formatting text for output, we can either make it left justified or right justified. Then we have the field width. Then we have different types of data, followed by format string and the format operator modulus. Then we have lazy evaluation, which is very important. So if we have in any programming language, the expressions are evaluated very soon. The calculation has to be immediately carried out. But in other programming languages, such as in pure functional programming language like Haskell, the value of the D might not be over here. The value of D might not be evaluated until it is used. So that is called as a lazy evaluation. But Python on the other hand is very strict and will calculate it as soon as possible. Okay. Now short circuit evaluation means if the PVM sometimes know the value. So before, if I'm having two conditions, two expression A and B, and if A is false, I need to consider which one is true. If A is true, then I don't have to come to B to check if it is true or not. So that is why A is 10. So there is no need to evaluate this. That is called short circuit evaluation. Then we have different types of operators like arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, identity operators, membership operators, bitwise operators. So arithmetic operator consists of all the arithmetic, plus, minus, into, by, modulus, exponentiation and floor division, whereas assignment operator is equal to, plus, equal to, minus, equal to, into, equal to, all those things. And comparison operator will have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to. Logical operators and, or, not, and identity operators is, not, membership operator in, not, in, and bitwise operator, bitwise and, ampersand sign, and, or, XOR, not, left shift and right shift. That's it. So this is the end of module